So first of all, my name's Nick Miller. I'm the executive director at the Venture College, which is a program at Boise State where we help students launch their ventures beyond the classroom. Back in March, we partnered with Trailhead to start this series of discussions that we call Survive to Thrive. And the purpose was to help to create a virtual representation of the startup ecosystem that's been growing over the past several years, led by folks like Tim at Trailhead, as well as Prince and Rob and others, to try to make sure that we still have the eyes and ears of the startup community and the community as a whole, and feature some of the startups that are doing incredible things in our community, like the two that we'll hear from today. So with that, I'll ask Prince and Rob to just do a quick introduction and tell us a little bit about their business. Prince and Rob, well, first Prince is the CEO and founder of Art of Visuals, and Rob is the CEO and founder of Washie. And maybe we'll start with Prince. If you can tell us just a little bit about your business, then we'll jump to Rob, and then we'll hop right into the questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. Hey, everyone. Prince here, CEO and founder of Art of Visuals. Art of Visuals is basically a media company that builds online communities and brands in its simplest form.
Thanks, Prince. Rob,
background or just
Washie?
Sure. Hey, my name is Rob Poleki, CEO and founder of Washie. Washie is the solution to dirty toilet seats in public restrooms. We are getting rid of paper toilet seat covers, my friends. So I invented a product. You wave your hand over a sensor, sanitizing foam comes to the surface of the toilet seat, and you wipe it down with some toilet paper. So, I'm a former elected official in Idaho. So from politics to the restroom industry, same crappy business, but business is business, right? So yeah, that's a short intro for me.
All right. Well, maybe we'll start there, Rob. Just a question for you. You mentioned you're an elected official. What similarities, if any, are there between a campaign and a startup?
Yeah. So former elected official, I quit my job. I took the leap of faith and went full-time with my company in 2019. But politics actually got me ready for this world. The pressure of politics, being in front, being in the public eye, always having to talk to people, network, convincing people to vote for me is like convincing people to buy my products, right? So politics got me ready as an entrepreneur. Sorry, Nick, what was the original question?
No, I'm just curious, the similarities between a campaign and a startup.
Yeah.
And I think you gave us some insights there.
Let me pick up on one thing, Nick, that Rob just mentioned. He flew over this fact, but he said, I quit my job. I know there's a bigger story to you quitting your job. There was an impetus and may I say a TV show that may have led to that. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah. So in 2018, I was issued a patent, and I put about 20 to 30 grand into my company at that point of my own money, and felt like it was time, to launch. So I drove from Boise to Las Vegas to CES, biggest tech show in the world, and Shark Tank auditions were in the middle of CES. So here I am pushing a toilet seat and a toilet bowl in the middle of the Venetian Hotel with thousands and thousands of people to go pitch at Shark Tank. And when I was taking the bowl out of my car, I was, oh man, what am I doing? People were going to be laughing at me, but it was the opposite effect, right? People were coming to me and asking me, what are you doing? What is this? So I pitched. There was about 1,700 people that stood in line to pitch, and I made it. There was about 22 people that were picked, and I made it. And I was going on Shark Tank. I had made it to the final round. And 2 weeks before filming, we were going over my pitch and picking out my set. And they said, Rob, there's a federal guideline that you can't run for office while on a TV network. So You either quit your job or come on Shark Tank. So I had to choose between my job and Shark Tank. So I quit. And as we're going through the process, they cut me. And it was the biggest blow. I had punched, those were my first punch in my face that, through this journey. But, through that process, I'm so glad I didn't go on the show because I was so early. They would have took, 70, 80% of my company. I probably would have said yes because, I was new in the game. And, things happened for a reason for me. I had all kinds of publicity that former elected official quits job to go on toilet seat run, and it was all over the newspapers, but it gave me the publicity that I needed to launch my company and, a bump in the road so I can go full time. And I wouldn't have been in this position I am if I didn't quit my job.
So it was sort of the best thing that never happened to you in a way.
Right. I wrote an article, Shark Tank will make me a millionaire, and I didn't even make the show.
I love it.
Yeah.
So Prince, it might not be as dramatic of a story, but what inspired you to take the plunge with Art of Visuals, and how did you end up there in that position to launch your own company?
I was in San Francisco at the time working on a separate business with a gal that I had been in a relationship with for a few years. Then I started working on AOV kind of on the side with a friend of mine. And we've always been in the creative space, always been really excited about creating things and sharing our, expressing ourselves and helping other companies and people express themselves through creativity. And we just kind of found a new approach to doing it. This wasn't our first business within the creative space. And so at the time, I told my girlfriend, I was like, hey, moving back to Boise to start this company, you can, join me or stay, but I got to go. It's calling me. And she decided to stay back in San Francisco. I hopped on a plane and 3 days later I was in Boise, and here we are. You want me to go deeper?
No, so Rob left an elected office, and you left a significant other behind, which I think are both.
I've done that twice, but I have a fiance now, so it'll never happen again. But I've done that twice.
I think those are both examples of some of the sacrifices that entrepreneurs have to make.
Big time.
And I think that as we've talked a little bit to both of you, just about how your businesses are unique, and obviously in this time of a global pandemic, having to pivot or create different revenue streams. Talk a little bit about the diversity of your business, and maybe we'll start with you, Prince, of just how you're both. You can discuss it in greater detail, but just the diversity of products that you offer to the community.
Definitely. So AOV is a diverse business. I like to think of our business as I don't think of it as a business. I think of it as an actual living organism. And it needs certain nutrients and certain things to live, to grow, to be healthy, to survive. And there's a lot of pieces that make up that puzzle. As far as like diversity in the form of products go, we have two staples. We have the community side of the business. Then we have our creative agency side of the business. And the two come together to really create this infinity loop, this ecosystem we've built. So on the community side, we have an online shop where we sell various digital products to photographers all around the world. On the other side of the community, we have these events that we do in person, whether they're workshops in London, sold out events in New York City, LA, gallery events. So we do all types of different, workshops, galleries, various events for the community. And then we also create a lot of educational content, inspirational content, podcast content for this community. On the other side of the business, we build brands and we build communities for creative companies. We do online events with companies. We do physical events with companies. So Sony's a perfect example. Sadly, we were bringing a very, very epic event to Idaho this year. We had Sony Kando coming to Sun Valley. We had the Sun Valley Resort closed down for 10 days in August. And we were going to have all the world's top content creators, photographers, filmmakers, Chris Burkhardt, like you name it, all the biggest guys in the creative space fly out to put on this huge, week-long event. But sadly, due to COVID, that won't be taking place. Outside of the live events, we also create content, tell stories for brands. We shoot a lot of commercials for Sony. We do design work for like Intel, and then we also help brands with some product development. Then we kind of marry the two together. So when we're doing events for our community, so our community basically gets to come to these events for free. Typically, they would have to pay money to go to high-end workshops like this to learn from some of the world's top creators. But because we partner with such powerhouse companies like Sony and Intel, and they have deep pockets, and so it's a perfect marriage. It's a very symbiotic relationship with a lot of the things we do. They also want to get their products in front of people. We want to create content that inspires. So a lot of times we'll also marry the content together, and we can create content for our community that's very helpful and resourceful for them. But we can also create content that also hits on the brand goals and their business goals. And so we can really connect the dots there. And so that's kind of our product suite, I guess, between the two sides of our business. And that's kind of how they all feed into each other.
It sounds like you built the community side and then also the brand side right out of the gate. Has the pandemic proven one over the other? Have you been able to, in other words, has revenue declined in one and you're pivoting to the other? Tell me a little bit about, the community side especially. I imagine these are individual creators and creative folks who may not have the kind of purchase orders they had 4 months ago.
I would say the community side's probably definitely gone down a little bit, but it's not really something that I really don't like making money off of creatives. Like these are my people. I love them, and we have a great business on the other side of the business. And unlike, it may be, obviously, as a business, it's important to make money, but I also think it's important to have values. And I think it's important to be able to draw a flag in the sand. And I think it's important to stand up for what you believe in and not to ever compromise that. And so for myself, if we can charge brands to do amazing things that benefit the community, I'll take that all day long versus charging my community for these things. I don't believe that, they should have to pay for education. I don't believe that they should have to pay for a lot of these things. I think this stuff should be accessible. It's all there. And my gift, our gift as an organization to them is providing them with the tools and the resources that they need to thrive now and in the future.
Yeah, I'm going to dive in a little bit more into that community-oriented organism here, but I want to turn it over to Rob to get his take on the, productizing your value proposition. Rob, in your intro, you talked about the toilet seat. I have also heard you talk about Washie as a chemical company. So tell us a little bit about how you productize your offering and how that has changed since the pandemic.
Yeah. So I was about to say, we weren't diverse at all. We had one product, which was our toilet seat. Developing the product from, the idea in my mind to an actual product, and now becoming, I could say, a part-time engineer. I had to figure all these things out by myself. We have bootstrapped it. There's, I'm trying to save tons of money. And, I've had to focus my time and energy on making sure that this seat is perfect. In the meantime, during the pandemic, we've had delays in manufacturing, and, my manufacturing is done in China. China are the experts in dispensers and plastic. So, things have to be done there. So, month after month, they keep pushing back. So I had to figure out how to pivot. So we're talking to our formulator. So our toilet seat takes cartridges. So we have the razor blade model, right? We're not really in toilet seat sales. We are, we'll give you the toilet seat for free, but you'll purchase cartridges from us for the life of the seat. So we're really in the chemical business. That's our revenue stream. Monthly revenue coming in from chemicals. So we're talking to our formulator, and she was making 20,000 units of sanitizer a day, and it clicked, right? We need to add this onto a product line. Washie, instead of just Washie toilet seat, Washie needs to be a brand of many products. So now we have a really good sanitizer out. It's, I feel like entrepreneurs, especially, ones in our area, just in general, we know how to fix things, problems, right? And the problem with the sanitizer around here is that it smells like tequila, right? It's really bad sanitizer. So you can, sanitize your hands and take a shot at the same time. People hated the sanitizer, and companies were coming out and price gouging and giving these nasty sanitizers. So we came out with a really good product. We paid a lot of money for the product, but it's good for our brand. So we launched the sanitizer. We're also launching a toilet seat spray for public restrooms. We're now going to sell sanitizer dispensers. So because of COVID, I never thought we would ever branch out to these other products, but because of the pandemic, now we have multiple product lines, and it's been good for us. We've actually been lucky because of what's happened. People are going to be wiping down everything for the next 2 to 3 years. So it's a good time for my company.
Yeah, it's fascinating to hear that your pivot was inspired by your supplier, who no longer was paying or producing parts for you necessarily, but letting you know, hey, this is what I've been doing, and you saw that as an opportunity. Look, I've been really impressed with your LinkedIn presence. I see you in Idaho stores when they buy your product. You feature them on LinkedIn. It's very engaging. I can't help but just follow you and figure out where you all have been and who's buying your product. Tell us a little bit about, you're quite the celebrity on LinkedIn. I don't think I know anyone who has done it as good a job as you, is leveraging it. What's your secret?
Hey, Tim, don't blow my head up, right? I listen to Gary Vee. Gary Vee says, post once or twice a day on LinkedIn, and I religiously did it. I was like, I'm going to post, and it's worked. I have made so many connections on LinkedIn with people in high places. People are now watching what I'm doing as an entrepreneur, but they're investigating what I'm selling. So they love my journey, but now they say, well, what is Washie? So they go and see the toilet seat, they go and see the sanitizer spray. So instead of putting tons of money into marketing and trying to sell my seat, I'm selling my journey. People on LinkedIn want to see, they have the ideas. Everybody has the ideas, but they're scared to jump. And my message on LinkedIn most of the time is, listen, if you're not going to do it, watch somebody else do it. You sit on the couch and you watch somebody else do it if you're not going to do it. So LinkedIn has been huge for us. And I just try to post every day. My community, since I served my community as an elected official and I did some good things in the community, they are now backing me. My products are all over Southeast Idaho, in pharmacies, gas stations, gyms, salons. They are asking, Rob, hey, how can we help you? Because, I gave back, for 7 years, and now my community is helping me out. So I'm grateful and so blessed to have the support of my community. And from this small community in Pocatello, it branches out everywhere. And even though Pocatello isn't the biggest place, the word is getting out now.
So two major common denominators here that I'm hearing: community, which is, let me just say, unusual to hear from early stage startups, because they're usually all about product, revenue, profitability, so they can survive. So Prince, back to you. Give us an idea of when you build a business like yours and you include community in this organism and you bring them on and you look at them not as a revenue stream, but more as a, as a community, how do you reconcile the two? How does that work?
What do you mean? How do I reconcile the two?
So do you basically view it as you make money on one side with the brands so you can support that community? Is that basically how the organism lives?
I don't think of them as separate. I think of everything as oneness. There's really no sense of duality. I don't think so. We started with the community first. So we built this huge community. We have over 2 million followers in 120 countries. We've been able to go, travel places around the world and sell out shows within days' notice because of this community. A lot of people have brand and have customers, but it's a whole different experience when you can show up at any destination around the country or specific cities around the globe and actually have people leave work, or when we did our workshop in London, we had people flying in from Kazakhstan. We had people flying in from Iraq. It was crazy, and it's always so mind blowing and surprising to see. And the reality is, everyone wants to belong to something. They want to be a part of something bigger. I think the way that businesses create going forward is going to change. I think I'm young. And I have a whole different outlook on business than I think a lot of my peers do. And I see the world very differently. And, I think in the future, every company is going to be community based. Every company is going to be a media company, meaning they you need attention. Wherever attention is where the energy flows, and that's where everyone wants to be. So if you have attention, if you have people, then you can make anything happen, right? You can create so much more value. And in today's world, customers don't want to be on the back end. They want to be a part of the brand. They want to help create products. They want to have a say in things. They want to champion the products that they use. They want to champion the content they consume. They want to champion the various things that they're involved with. And so I think community is so important, and I think that's why you see a lot of companies trying to build community now, which I think is a lot harder to do later. FYI, I think it's super important for that to kind of be like, that should be part of the DNA early stage. Not that it can't be done later, but you always risk a little bit of imposter syndrome, right?
So to pull on that, and Rob, you mentioned, building your company in Pocatello. Prince, obviously you'd said you were in San Francisco and then made the decision to come back here and build it in Boise, build a global company in Boise. For both of you, what, if any, barriers or challenges have you had building your company in your respective communities? And what are those global partners saying when you give them your address and it's Boise, Idaho or Pocatello, Idaho? What are the responses? And is that an advantage or a barrier or a challenge?
I think it's a huge advantage. I love it. I get a kick out of it. Like I said, very non-traditional, not building businesses in traditional ways, very much so like in the now and doing things the way that I believe they should be done. And I take great pride in being having AOV based out of Boise, Idaho. I think people get a huge kick out of it. It's always a great conversation. I love nothing more than, sitting, being on a Skype call or being in New York with the CEO of, a Fortune 50 company, and they're asking, where we're at. And when I say Boise, Idaho, their eyes get big. Wait, where? Like potato Boise, and because everyone just based on the look and feel of our company and brand, everyone assumes we're either based out of New York, London, or LA. And so it's always like this, it's like discovering the Matrix for our partners when they find out that we're just like in Boise, Idaho. But I think it's a huge advantage. I think I think it's exciting for them because it's so new and refreshing. It takes us out of this bucket. I think there's an archetype that comes with we're a New York company or we're an LA company or we're a London-based company. And so Boise, I think, is so fresh, so exciting. They're curious to why Boise, what's happening in Boise. And I get to explain how beautiful and amazing and great. And my main thing is there's no noise here. It's all signal. So going back to this organism, going back to there's different puzzle pieces that create health within a company. Being in Boise is one of those things. There's no noise here. It's all signal. I go to LA, I go to New York, and it's just noise. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. You got to go to network. You got to drive this. You got to be here. You got to be that. You got to do it like this. They're doing it like that. In Boise, I don't even know what anyone's doing. I don't know what our competition does. I have no idea. We're just kind of on an island building a business in our own, from our own perspective, our own point of view. It allows us to be very unique and offer very unique things that the other brands aren't seeing. And so I think it's a huge advantage. And from a business standpoint, we're getting LA, New York, London money. If this was Yelp, let's say $3-4 signs, but we live in Boise, single dollar signs. So our costs as far as running the business, our office, our day-to-day living is nothing. So you can kind of do the math there. So it's a huge advantage for us.
I like just the arbitrage.
Rob, just to add on to that, Prince hit it right on the head. It is the best conversation piece when we're out of town. When I'm in Tampa, Florida, when I'm in Denver or Texas, and they find out that I'm from Pocatello, Idaho, not even Boise, Pocatello, Idaho, it is the best conversation piece. And throughout these trips and throughout the last year, the many of places I've been, I've never expected the amount of people that have come through Pocatello, Idaho, and know where Pocatello is. So it is the best conversation piece. I mean, everyone is in the big city, but here we are in Idaho. Best place to live, right? Best place to be in business. Good. It's affordable here, and we're making things happen. So it's a good conversation piece for us.
Well, and it's also exciting. It's a fresh perspective. I'll give an example. When I was in New York after our event with Sony, I'm sitting in a bar with the executive team, and we're chatting about where they're going to do their big annual event the next year. And they were looking at Utah. And then here I come bursting into the conversation. I said, no, we're going to do this. We're going to do this in Idaho. We're going to do this in Sun Valley, Idaho. And they all look at me like I'm crazy. And my soul just lit on fire. In that moment, I was like, let's go. This is my moment to pitch and to just explain why this is the best place to do this event. So I pull out my phone. Of course, I got my albums of photos I've taken around Idaho. I start showing them how beautiful it is, how amazing it is. And it goes from, Prince, you're really funny. There's no way we're going to Idaho to do this event, to we'll be flying out there in 2 weeks. And let's check it out, and we'll go from there. And so it's awesome, man. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I think the tourism department might owe you a commission there, Prince.
Not yet. Next year, we're still going to try to keep it here. It didn't happen this year because COVID, but.
And I think, Rob, not to put you on the spot, but I know that there have been rumblings of Washie potentially checking out Salt Lake City or Boise. Curious to know just what you learned as you looked at the two ecosystems. What are the things that you consider when you're thinking about where to build this company for the future?
Yeah. So one of our customers is the Salt Lake City Airport, and we also have Boise Airport that has agreed to a pilot run when we get our seats in. Most of, in Idaho, I've found it hard to find fulfillment centers, to find chemical, to find bottlers, and those things have been provided to me in Utah. However, we're still based in Pocatello, but, our money is going to Utah. I wish those things were here. We've looked all over, and because our product is a new product, it's a special product, things, Idaho hasn't developed those things here yet. So we've had to go to Utah. And, you know, thinking about launching our product, I need to be in a place where, you know, if something happens, and I've had this story that, you know, the seats, I went and piloted the seats and they started breaking. It was just a terrible, another punch in the gut. So wherever we launch the real seats, I need to be there for, you know, a few months to make sure that this product doesn't break. You know, it's plastic. Something will happen, and from those mistakes, we'll learn how to build a better product. So I think the differences are the community in Boise for entrepreneurs is stronger. I've been down to Lehigh. I've been down to Salt Lake City area. I've been pitching down there a ton, and they're all on their own. They're all doing their own thing. Nobody's helping each other. Everybody's trying to get the same money. Everyone is always trying to get the same money, but I feel like in Boise, there's a community of entrepreneurs that help each other. When we come down there, we are booked with appointments from the morning till, and everyone is like, how can we help you? What can we do? Let's get you in here. Let's get you in there. In Salt Lake City, it's you're on your own trying to find your way. So I think those are the two major differences. But I feel as far as products, plastic, manufacturing, Idaho needs to maybe, you know, develop in those areas.
Yeah, Rob, let me pick up on something you mentioned earlier, totally off the current topic here. You mentioned the word leap a few times, right? There was a time where you decided to make the leap. You know, when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's typically the sexy side. It's the Shark Tank, I'm going to go raise $1 million, build a unicorn. What about the other side of the coin? How do you go about, I mean, I know, you have a family. How do you go about making that leap and then actually funding that leap? Tell us about how you went about that.
So just a little background. I am a father of 4. We just recently had another child 2 months ago. So they range from 10 to 2 months. So my wife and I have always been on a side hustle. Even though I've had the 9-to-5 job, we've always had businesses on the side, and she's a real estate agent, and she runs our cleaning business. We do residential and commercial properties here. And so, you know, when it was time to leap, when it was time to quit my job, I made sure that I was financially stable because I have a family. If I was single, I would have leaped a long time ago, right? But I had to make sure that I could pay the bills for my family. And paying those bills was making sure my wife was good in real estate and running the business. And those two businesses are paying our bills now as I try to take as little as money as possible from our company. But yeah, taking the leap and trying to figure that out, and I tell this to everyone, it is on your own. You have to figure that out on your own. But make sure that you are financially stable to do it. So in some cases, you could probably leap, but in my case, where I have a family of 4, you know, I had to make sure that I was stable enough to provide for my family, put some food on the table. So.
Very cool. No, thanks for sharing that. Prince, how about you? When you made the leap, did that go through your head at all, or were you basically just focused on landing in Boise and starting a business?
Dude, I drove my Jeep. I had no money. I think my radiator broke down on my drive up, and had to call my grandpa for some money. I was broke. I didn't have a dime. There was no backup plan. There was no savings. There was this was it. It was all in game time. Moved here, lived with my business partner at the time in his spare room. I had nothing, and I never felt so free. It was great. There was no, I think there's both sides. I think security is nice, but I think when you don't have a net that's going to catch you, failure is not an option. And I almost personally am not a huge fan of backup plans in the beginning of things, because I think the thought of a backup plan, plants a seed of the plan's not going to work. So the backup plan's there. And so I think it's, 1000% focus energy into, you know, what it is you're trying to accomplish.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So I think, you know, if I were to reconcile your situation versus Rob's, I guess what I hear from Rob is that, you know, with the family, you had a lot riding on you, and you still do. There is responsibilities other than you know, taking care of yourself. And so I just think it's interesting how the two of you just went about it in completely different ways.
If I had a family, I would have went about it like Rob. Not having a family, I got nothing to lose. What do I, like, at the time I was like 25, you know, and I have nothing to lose. Like, haha, maybe see a few of my friends laugh at me and I have to start over again on something else. Like, that's, in my eyes, that was, I mean, it was an easy trade-off.
Prince, have you ever had to raise money since you started, or did you consider it for any like growth reason or other strategic reason?
We raised a very small round when we first started the company. I had a business partner, and we kind of had like two separate visions that kind of came into one, and we ended up splitting. But we did raise a small round. I wish that we would have never done that.
Tell me why. That's interesting.
I just, you know, we had a business. Like, we had a business that was making money, and we could have just like kept focusing on building the business. And instead we like raised money, and then all of a sudden like we fell into like this hysteria of, oh my gosh, these guys raised money. And like, then our egos kind of flared up like, yeah, you know, we raised some capital and we're going to go high growth and we're going to do this. And it just, in my personal experience, it didn't work out well for us. We didn't spend the money that wisely off the jump. We had a developer, we were trying to build this app, and we had a developer end up bailing out. And so we wasted a lot of money paying him to build this half-built project. And at the time, we didn't necessarily have a clear vision. Like, if you're going to raise capital, you know, you should have a very clear vision on what you're going to do with that capital and how you're going to execute. And it goes back to the whole sexy thing, man. Just build a business is my perspective. Like, entrepreneurship's gotten so sexy and so cool, and raising money and all this stuff is so exciting, and it's so fun to talk about, and everyone wants to interview you and ask questions. And but you know, I hope to see that not be so polarized in the future. And I hope like people can just build businesses. You don't need like, it almost becomes like a mental block too, where it's like, I need, like, every young person I talk to, they haven't done anything yet because they're all waiting to raise capital. And I'm just like, just go and build, like, just go do it. Like, you don't need capital for this. Just go build your business. Like, what are you waiting for? It's almost like it's a cosign that says my idea is good. If I can't raise capital, my idea must not be good enough, which I don't believe in.
Oh, I cannot thank you enough for this candor. So it's been a bit pet peeve of mine, right? When entrepreneurs use the event of fundraising as an external validation point. Oh yeah, my idea is worth something. I think back to the signal and the noise. It's a lot of noise and not a lot of signal there. And let me put the same question sort of in front of Rob. Rob, tell us about your fundraising activity. I know you pitch a lot. I know that iGEM has been involved in Washie. Give us the landscape with fundraising on your end.
Yeah, just to add on to the leap. Prince's story of the leap, the ultimate entrepreneur, leaving nothing behind. So I applaud you for that, my friend. That's how entrepreneurs should be doing it. As for me, for raising money, you know, I've been in, I can't even count how many pitches I've been in, but I've never taken any money. And some of these guys, these angels and VCs, think they know everything, and they don't know. They don't know nothing about products. You know, they would tell me about my own product, and they would be wrong. So I totally agree. I've only taken money from local investors here in Idaho, one in Utah, and I've stopped. I can do this on my own with the small amount of money that I have. I had to go raise money for molds, for manufacturing, for engineering, and things like that because I have a product. But I've stopped, and I'm trying to avoid the VC route as much as possible because, you know, through other entrepreneurs, other stories that I've heard, through products, I can do this on my own. I can run this company. I can find ways to fund my company and do it on my own. So yeah, you don't need other people's money or opinions to start your own company. You start your own company, believe in yourself, and do it.
So the two, the theme that I hear between the two of you is fierce independence, which I think is probably not an uncommon trait for entrepreneurs. But as you think about, and I think, Prince, you were kind of headed this way of, you know, the money in some ways almost being a distraction. To pull on that a little bit, just tell us about how you went about building a culture of independence, of creativity, of innovation within your company. What did you look for in your first hires? How did you go about building that culture, and what does it look like today within your company?
So this is going to sound wild because it's everything came from within. Like, I don't seek external answers. There are no external answers. Everything comes from within. And I think too many people spend too much time looking outward for all these things. We're looking for strategies. We're looking for that validation. We're looking for ideas. We're looking for this. It's all right here. And so what I was looking for when I was hiring my first hire, I didn't have anything specific I was looking for. My intuition. I have the best navigation system on the planet, and it's my intuition. And if you're in tune with yourself and you trust yourself, you love yourself, your intuition will guide you. Like, we are all, and then that's why I was saying I go about business in a completely different way. Like, I read some business books, I'm involved in some things, but I don't overweigh these businessy things. I'm very human. I'm an empath, and I like to lead with my emotional intelligence over the reptilian brain. I feel like the reptilian brain within me likes to always try to put something in a box, has to make sense of everything, has to put a structure to everything, has to have a linear approach to everything. But that's just not how the world really works. And like, we all know that, even though we go against that all the time. And so when it comes to hiring people, you know, and building culture, culture starts with yourself. Like, as the leader, it's like having kids. If you're a terrible human and you have kids, your kids are going to be, it's going to be a riot. Your household's going to be a riot, right? Because they learn by just being around and watching and absorbing you. And your team's no different. Your employees and your staff are no different. And so if you're not the real deal, then you can't expect your employees and team to be these awesome people to pick up your slack. And so I think it's important to, you know, in building culture, to not just write these things down. Culture is a lifestyle. You know, we have a lifestyle here at AOV. We don't have, you know, we don't have these things on the wall that dictate how we go about doing things. Our culture is our lifestyle. Like, we're all about growth mindset. We're all about learning and growing consistently, always and forever. We're all about scientific thinking, always thinking about the positive side, the positive sides of things, and not letting fear and negativity drag us. It'll put you in the mud and it'll cripple you. And so the way we think, the way we approach things, we're open to ideas, the way that we communicate, there's no hierarchy. Like, yes, I'm the CEO and I own the company, but I'm not above any of my employees. We have a flat org chart, and I only hire, you know, other people that can think the same way. So I have a team. I like to say we have a SEAL team. We have a small team of just the most amazing people. Like, I love these people. I literally love my team. Like, this is my family. These aren't employees that we just show up and just kind of do this job thing together for 8-9 hours a day. We really are a family. And when you get to that type of dynamic, the opportunities are endless. Like, you're always on. Your entire team is always on. They don't leave work and turn off the work switch. Like, it's a lifestyle. We just all live in this. We all grow. We all support each other. We all bring ideas to the table all the time. So it's really beautiful. And diversity, you know, like I was talking to you about earlier, Nick, we're naturally diverse. You have a lot of companies now, oh my gosh, we need to put women on executive teams. We need to put people of color on executive. We need to be more diverse, and we need to do this, and we need to be more collaborative. That's been in our DNA since day one. We are highly diverse. When people see our team, they're like, holy cow, you guys are so diverse. Like, I had no idea this is what you guys look like. I had no idea, it's a good feeling when people come up to me like, oh my gosh, I had no idea the CEO of Art of Visuals was Black. This is mind blowing. And it's cool because people, Black people and other people from ethnicities, they reach out to me and it's like, hey man, you're a huge inspiration to see a young guy doing something awesome. And we just don't ever really see it. And that's just really cool. And we want you to know that. And so, a lot of these things that you see companies now trying to do because it's the right thing, by trusting yourself, your intuition, just naturally that happens,
Love it, Prince. That's the intuition aspect of it, I think, is something that doesn't get a lot of attention here. So I love that your gut drives you rather than a spreadsheet.
For sure.
Rob, tell us a little bit about the culture you're building at your company and your approach.
Yeah. So as for diversity, I'm a Pacific Islander and my partner is Black, and we have a part-time assistant that's a woman. So we are pretty diverse here at Washie. But then I feel like, and just to add on what Prince said, most of these companies that are trying to add diversity to them, if they don't start with it, it's kind of fake. It's like a fake culture that they're building, and hopefully that person can change the culture. But I learned through politics. Through my last job, I had 60 plus employees. I had to make sure that these employees follow me through the fire. And as the CEO of the company of Washie, I tell this story. I'm on the ground in public restrooms, switching out toilet seats, cleaning out the on toilet bowls, doing the most disgusting things, because I want to know what that feels like when I send somebody in to go and switch out a toilet seat and what they have to do. So as a CEO, the culture begins with me. If I'm not willing to go on the ground and clean toilet seats, why am I going to hire somebody to do that? So I learned that through politics as well. The politics and government, there's not too many leaders in there that have their employees follow them, and I try to build culture that way. But vision, when I got into politics, I had a vision, and I didn't let anyone guide my vision. I had them support my vision. I didn't let anyone guide my vision. And that's what this company with Washie, I have a vision. I know what the end result should be and should look like and what I should feel like. So I never let anybody, even other entrepreneurs, guide my vision. I feel like they support and add to my vision, but not guide it. So, and that's a part of building culture. So
I want to add to what Rob said real quick. Like Rob, I've always been in control of the vision, but there was one time in the growth of our business where we did get lost. Why did we get lost? And this is for all you young entrepreneurs out there. Have faith in yourself. As a young guy, what happened to me was we had a vision, and then you start getting around these guys that are business guys that know everything. And what they do is you know exactly where you're headed, and by the time you're done spending a few weeks chatting with these guys, you are completely lost. You have no idea what product you should be doing, what business you're in. You're confused, and that was the only time that I got lost. And I remember coming out of that, and I told myself, never again am I listening to anyone. Just because it worked for you does not mean it's going to work for us. And advice like that is not universal. And that's one of the things that's challenging, I think, for young entrepreneurs. You have a lot of older businessmen that love to give this advice, and oftentimes it's unwarranted. And all I want you guys to know is to stay true to yourself and to follow your vision and your intuition. It'll lead you to the honey pot.
Yeah. With that said, what's both of you guys' approach to mentorship then? By the way, I agree. I think there are a lot of rabbit holes young entrepreneurs are sent down because for every good idea, there's 10 people telling you that you're doing it wrong. But how do you then still not sideline this really valuable, that I personally benefited from, thing of mentorship? How do you do that? Rob, why don't you give us a bit from your perspective?
Yeah. I was lucky. I have a great mentor. He took a company, Unicorn, and he's never, ever tried to guide my vision. He's used it as therapy for me. As you know, when I'm going through some rough times, he's always trying to be my cheerleader, right? He's always he does give me options and say, you should maybe try this, maybe think about this, get with your group, get with your team and think about these things. But he never tells me, Rob, you need to do this or you need to do that. You know, when entrepreneurs come up with ideas, they're new ideas, they're creative, they've never been done before. So the older, like Prince says, the older businessman that tries to come in and tells you it's nothing, I mean, it's a new concept. Nobody ever thought Airbnb or Uber was going to work. I mean, who thought that you were going to sit in a stranger's car or go sleep in a stranger's bed, right? Everyone was like, this ain't going to work, but look what it's become today. That's just the same with my company. Oh, Rob, this isn't going to work. Nobody's going to get rid of paper toilet seat covers. But what they don't know is that they don't work. They're absorbent, right? So I have to make sure that the mentors and it's been really good to me, help me through my hard times, but not change my business. Help me through my hard times, but not change my business. Yeah.
Prince, right back to you then. How do you seek out mentorship? Do you seek out mentorship, and do you take it with a grain of salt?
Definitely take it with a grain of salt. There's one specific person. Let me plug in my laptop before it dies. Just noticed it's red. I have my Mr. Miyagi is Jeff Reynolds. And Jeff Reynolds is literally this guy. If anyone watching this knows Jeff, I mean, Jeff is the most amazing human on this freaking planet. And the reason why I value Jeff's mentorship so much is because Jeff never has told me this is what you should be doing. He's never been the know-it-all. I think a true mentor challenges you, holds you accountable for what you say. So when I tell him that I'm going to do something or this is what I'm working on, whatever, he holds me accountable to see those things through. But more importantly, he asks questions. I think the best mentors are there. They're like a strategist. It's the same thing I do with my clients. I'm not here to feed you all the answers. Like, yes, in my heart, I think I know the answers to a lot of these things. But do I really? I don't know. It's just my ego being like, I know. So I'm just going to tell you. Rather than me just telling you, I'm going to ask you a lot of really good questions. We may end up coming to the answer that I already had, but at least it's coming from you and it's not coming from me just telling you that this is what you should do. You should be discovering this on your own. This is your thing, and you should not be depending on people to tell you what to do. So I think the best mentors ask you lots of questions, and they work with you as a strategist, and they try to get you to think differently. They try to reframe things. They challenge things. They challenge you to look at, try to get you to look at all the different angles and see things that you might be blind to. I think that's what the best mentors do. Big shout out, Jeff Reynolds.
Yeah.
We have to get this, this session is brought to you by Jeff Reynolds, just because the amount of times he's come up in different discussions with entrepreneurs. You see the strength of the ecosystem and the critical role that mentors play in it. And I would agree with you. He's a great guy and a huge part of our ecosystem. Maybe Tim, we have time for one more question if you've got one, or we can wrap it up here.
There's one asset I think in iGEM, and Rob, I believe iGEM has partnered with Washie to some degree. And so what I would like you to do, just highlight that partnership. I think it's something many entrepreneurs in Idaho don't know about. It's an opportunity. And maybe if they hear it from the entrepreneur's point of view, they might pursue it themselves. So tell us a little bit about that partnership, Rob.
Yeah, so I was fortunate to receive a grant from iGEM for $90,000 to partner with Idaho State University, their engineering department, the chemistry department, and their business department to help me launch Washie. We've needed so much R&D. And listen, I graduated with a social work degree. I have no business major. I've just figured it out on my own, and I needed help. And one thing is, people are scared to look and ask for help. iGEM has been a huge help for us. And 90 grand and for a year's grant, we can go back again and get more money. The students work on our projects, and sometimes people feel like students aren't, they're in their master's programs and they're still learning. But the things that they have done with my toilet seat are just, they're huge for me. For R&D, they've found things that I would have known about, and I've gone to my engineers and we've changed things. So tons of R&D for me, and it was really put tons of my time into it. They put tons of time into it. And the state of Idaho Department of Commerce gave us 90 grand so that students learn, and I get, a small business gets research and development done. So it's been awesome for me. We probably will go back for a $150,000 grant to continue.
Love to hear it. iGEM, I know Carmen Archibald is on the call, or was on the call earlier. We love the program. I know there's more than just Washie, other startups that have benefited from it. Another testament to good work being done in our ecosystem. So thank you to Idaho Commerce, and thank you to iGEM.
Well, cool. Thank you both, Prince and Rob, for joining us today. I think, as I look back on the conversation, the hour we spent together, the authenticity that both of you bring to your companies and to the ecosystem, the willingness to hustle, and no work is above you, whether it's getting out and pitching those clients one-on-one, Prince, or being in the airport and doing the dirty work that has to be done, Rob. And I think as both of you said, just for up-and-coming entrepreneurs, just being true to yourself and true to your vision, that really stood out. And I love that we spent an hour talking about what it means to be an entrepreneur. We didn't get to dive much into the details of all of your businesses, but I think that's what makes it really relatable across all industries and all sectors, that these are things people can apply no matter where they are. So just really want to thank both of you for your time. Really appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us. Can you tell us just for those people on the call, where they can find you and your products?
Yep. First and foremost, thank you guys. Shout out Kanye West. You can follow us on Instagram at Art of Visuals, or check us out on artofvisuals.com. And my personal is at Wonderboy Prince if anyone wants to slide into the DMs and start a conversation. I don't text, but I will reply with a video message.
All right. Hey, I just added Jeff Reynolds and Prince to LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Rob Poleki, but then on all social media sites, just search Washie Toilet Seat, washieproducts.com. And yeah, thanks guys for having us on the show. Much love and appreciation.
Yeah, thank you guys. All of you, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Look for an email coming out with our next guest, and thank you for joining us today. Have a great week, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Bye, everyone.